So I want to bring our attention back to our body because, as I mentioned, that's the place where our subjective world and the consensual world all intersect and can be in harmony, although for so many of us they aren't right now. And we're going to be doing some techniques that work with the body and use imagination very strongly. So, okay, the first technique I want to work with is the technique of channeling and energizing the four elements. So I mentioned before that the forces that are at our service and that serve us and that help create us have been described for eons of time as elements. This was long before we had a periodic table of the elements and chemical elements. I want you to be clear, I'm not referring to those elements of the material world. I'm referring to the elements that people in their imagination usually call fire, earth, air, and water. And sometimes, in some cultures, they've gone beyond to a fifth element called the ethereal element or the wood element or space. It's often described. But let's stick for the moment to four elements. And I'm going to show you hand signals that we use to develop the feeling of each of the elements and to bring them under our control to a certain extent, but also into our perception and discernment. So the first one I'm going to describe is fire, and the hand signal that we use basically looks a lot like a shaking hand signal. It's the right hand with the thumb up on the element, and in doing it, we actually are trying to feel all of the circulation and the flow into that hand. And with practice, as this element fire becomes associated with this right hand in this position, your hand will actually become an instrument of that element. And it's going to take some practice and repetition, just like anything else. And as that element comes into play into the hand, the forces inside of you and outside of you are going to become into balance, into attunement with that element of fire. And you're going to feel it in time. You're going to feel the interplay of forces, how they straighten out, how they come into alignment, and then how all of a sudden everything is in peace. That's fire. The second element we're going to discuss is air, which is the two hands facing down in this particular system. And with that, you're giving your body and yourself the instruction that this is going to represent air. And that air is welcome in this position into you and around you. And again, whatever is in you that is in attunement with air is going to be strengthened. Whatever is out of alignment with it, or whatever parts of the air element inside of you or around you are not in balance, are going to straighten out and come into balance. And you're going to feel it. I feel it in my hands. Other people just feel the shift in the texture of their mind and their consciousness. Sometimes other people hear the stillness inside their head. The voices calm down. The third element is water, which is the opposite of the fire hand. It's the left hand in a handshake position. And you're going to feel the flow and the force of the water going through that hand as you instruct your body and yourself that this is the water element. The fourth one is earth with the two hands facing up. And the fifth one, wood, is, I'm going to show you my hand position. They come together. It's almost like two thumbs up. And again, you'll feel the structure of space. The ethereal element coming into balance and harmony. Everything lining up in its proper